It's the biggest race of the year in American flat track, and now we're going to do it ×2. A doubleheader of the Springfield Mile, the fastest track, the closest racing. It's going to be an unforgettable show.
Flat track motorcycle racing. Just to recall what it was like in the beginning, let us take a quick look back at the turn of the century. It takes stout lads like them to go for this kind of competition. It's trials like this that have made the two-wheel little giant the tough piece of mechanism it is today. Take a look at this motorcycle.
Each of today's races draws large crowds from all over the country.
It's a revolution.
Testing and bettering, testing and perfecting. Right on, cowboy.
The wave of the future.
You got a good start anyway.
Yeah, and we'll see how hot I was the whole time.
Every chance I get to race, I enjoy it.
What will you do? How hard are you willing to go? Will you let fear win? Or will you rise
Big one for Jared Mees.
and find victory?
Shayna Hexter takes the win.
It changes the way we look at racing.
Briar Bauman is going to face a double threat over this weekend because while he leads the points, Jared Mees, who is second, knows the miles are his best place to get wins and make up ground. But you'll have to deal with other contenders like Jeffrey Carver, who won here in May last year and certainly will be fast this time. In our singles division, we have a tie at the top of the standings between Dalton Gauthier and the factory Red Bull KTM rider and last year's champion, Dan Bromley. They will be racing on the short track. Look for the action to get intense between them and James Rispoli and the Black Hills Harley-Davidson team. He's looking for his first win of the year. The production twins will be on the big mile track. Jason Wygant, Master Wheelman, AJ Allmendinger up here, Kristen Beat down on the racetrack. And what a racetrack it is. There's nothing quite like Springfield.
The Springfield Mile, it's legendary. First race held in 1937, most races won by the Hall of Famer, Scotty Parker. If you ask every rider here, if they had to win at one place, it would be here at the Springfield Mile. We see this place is known for close finishes. Off of turn 4 last year, Brian Smith barely beats out Jared Mees for the win. Jeffrey Carver right behind him. So Jason, this is what it's all about for these riders. They love this place. They know if you win here on your resume, you become another level of a rider.
Yes, and we're going to do it twice with the doubleheader format. Normally we race on Memorial Day and Labor Day. That was rained out this year. Last year on Memorial Day, Jeffrey Carver came out on top, taking it to Mees. He had won a couple races in his career, but there's no doubt this was the biggest.
Springfield's like the Indy 500 or the Daytona 200. My favorite memory of this track is every single time I get on it. The speed's here, it's got the proper dirt. So you go out there and you just try and not lift. You know, you run high, you can run low.
The victory is going to go to Jeffrey Carver. Dominant performance.
Whenever you achieve something like that, I just was so pumped on myself, you know, that I did it, and I kept my head down all day and I was able to charge. I gave myself a 30% chance that I could break the draft. And but then there's also the drafting game you got to play. So there's different things, you know, to do. Every single time I watch it, it just brings back them butterflies in my stomach and makes me realize why I like to be here.
Here comes Jeffrey Carver, Jr.
I've watched Ricky Graham win here, Chris Carr, Scotty Parker. This was my stomping grounds. This is where I grew up. This is where I learned how to ride. I raced in pole barns over here in Carhartts whenever I was on an 85 when it's 15 degrees outside. It's just super magical.
Look at Carver go flying by up the inside. What a move!
It's another check mark, you know. That's what we want. You know, the greats have, you know, lots of wins. Right now I have 3. And it's just all about really, you know, harnessing that energy and putting myself up top. I was good last year. I think I'm better this year. Beginning of this year wasn't as much, but I kind of found my spot and just kind of go forward.
Illinois own. Yeah, Jeffrey Carver keeping the fans pumped up.
You can't let the dark side control you, but you got to learn how to harness it, and that's what you have to do to win here. You know, the goal every weekend is to win. Yes, Springfield, you know, means a lot, but any race win means a lot to me. We're really looking to try and do it again here today.
Carver, not the season he wants as far as points are concerned. He's back and forth. Briar Bauman trying to hang on to the lead.
38-point lead over Jared Mees. But 4 out of the last 5 races are on mile racetracks. Jared Mees' specialty. He has to win all of these.
And that could include the doubleheader. Let's send it to Kristen.
With 3 consecutive podiums, Briar Bauman has some momentum moving into the Springfield Mile. Briar, how comfortable are you today?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. We just got done with our first practice and things felt all right, but just kind of shaking it down, really. This is a different racetrack for me. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can as I go, and that's what we're doing right now.
You don't have the title locked up, but you're pretty darn close. Have you shifted your game strategy now to a more conservative race model?
Absolutely not. I mean, we've seen so many times in the last couple races how quickly things can turn around. So, yeah, my goal is still just to win today at the Springfield Mile, championship or not. We don't really think about that too much. I actually haven't really even paid attention to points. So, all the way across the board, the goal is to win no matter the situation, and that's what we're going to try and do up until the last round.
You are 1 mile win away from completing a career Grand Slam, not only throughout your professional career, but in one season. How meaningful would it be to get that career Grand Slam here at the historic and prestigious Springfield Mile?
It'd be insane. I mean, Springfield is our Daytona 500. It's the biggest race of the year, really. Everyone looks forward to it, and it's great racing. So if I were able to do it here, it'd be a special feeling. To do it all in one season, it's already been an incredible year, but it'd just be icing on the cake. So we have 2 days to try here in Springfield, and I'm giving it all I can.
Well, the championship situation is a little more complicated for Bauman starting in the semi and qualifying. Right in the thick of it on the number 14, and right there is Engine. Let's go. It's a bad situation for him. He will have a provisional to make the main, but that means he's going to be starting in the back. So the one thing the points leader didn't want, a catastrophic engine problem, and it almost cost him big.
Something happened inside the engine, unfortunately. It just kind of made a really loud noise and just quit running. So fortunately, no one was behind me. We had a big enough gap that, no one was there to kind of have an issue. So I just went and used my provisional, and it's kind of the same thing we've always been in this fight. So, yeah, we're just going to fight, see how we end up, get as many points as we can. And we've had issues before, but we like it when we're up against the wall, I think.
Well, it's going to be difficult on him for the rest of the event, no doubt. Rest of this race, great 3-rider battle coming out of turn 4, and there's some strategy at play in a mile track, AJ.
Brendan Robinson here. Watch him kind of look over, give it a little lift of the throttle. He wanted to get behind Davis Fisher. The draft here at Springfield, so important. Makes the move, gets the draft, wins semi number 1.
And Fisher leads all the way to the line. Robinson just gets him. Carver there in third. Another classic close mile finish. Robert Pearson and Brian Smith, the mile master, 5th. Well, no drafting here. That's how strong Jared Mees is. He waxes the field in his semi, leaving a good battle behind him with some of the Harley-Davidsons in there. Jared Vanderkoy ends up 4th, and Sammy Halbert on the HD machine in 5th. So Jeffrey Carver showing speed, Brandon Robinson as well, and of course Jared Mees. But can Briar Bauman bounce back from the engine problems? We'll have a totally different track, the short track, in our singles class, where the points cannot get closer. Dan Bromley and Dalton Gauthier are tied for the lead. A pivotal event looms. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. If you go down, call Russ Brown. By Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas, the entitlement sponsor of AFT Singles. And by Cat Rental Store, the official heavy equipment supplier of American Flat Track. It's the Roof Systems AFT Singles class, and they will move over to the short track instead of the big mile that the Twins run. So let's get you caught up with the news in this division. Tied at the top.
Dalton Gauthier has won races. Dan Bromley, Mr. Consistency. Seems like on the podium every week. Don't sleep on Mikey Rush. He's only 14 points back.
Yeah, and he had to share the points lead at one point. But right now the focus is on Gauthier and Bromley, tied with the stretch run for this championship.
We've been consistent every race, and we've been up front every race, where I know Dalton, he's been falling off a little bit. I don't know if that would be the right thing to say, but he's been getting 6th and 9th and things like that, where I feel I've been showing that I can be a top 4, top 5 guy every week. And I know the last couple races we're going into that I have been up front and that I have been able to podium on. And for me to be able to get a good start and put those guys behind me and do what I need to do and win.
I'm just trying to have fun, honestly, these last couple of races. I mean, we're obviously tied for this race here at Springfield Short Track, but I'd like to beat them and come out the points lead. And the bike's going to be good, and I'm ready to go and fight.
I don't really have the pressure of winning the championship. I already have done it, where right now I'm just trying to keep it. So for me, I'm not trying to win a championship for the first time, so I don't have those pressures of, can I do it? How has he done it? Where for me, I've done it, and the biggest thing for me is just to keep it and keep going consistent in every race.
I race all different tracks growing up and stuff, and all different surfaces, so I think that helps a bunch. And I just think I can ride any track anywhere just as good as everybody else, if not better. So just stay consistent, and we're getting down to the wire in these last couple of races, so I got to. And if I want to make a bid at this championship, I got to stay in front of them.
Well, the challenge of staying in front, they're lined up together in the first semi, and they get into it immediately along with Chad Coase. Big crash in the back. Luckily, the wheel and caution lights don't come on, so this battle can continue. Okay, so Chad Coase, watch Gauthier all the way on the outside here.
Goes from outside, throws it inside, puts the block pass on Bromley, maybe sending a message to him that I'm still the guy to beat.
And then Bromley gets bumped a little bit by Coase, and that allows these two to pull away. Coase keeps it close, but cannot track Gauthier down. Bromley shoved back to third. Kitchen and Brindley round out the top 5. Now a big crash early in semi 2. Cameron Smith and Morgan Mishler down. This does bring out the wheel and caution lights, but luckily both riders are okay. And they know it's just classic short track battles. They're actually all right with each other as well, despite the contact. Look who wins again. This kid is for real.
You win your first career race. Next thing you know, nothing but momentum. Go there. Dallas Daniels wins semi number 2. Starting to feel it.
Yep, Mikey Rush was second. Daniels won the main event at our last race, the Peoria TT. So watch for the 16-year-old as a potential championship spoiler tonight. Again, we have a tie at the top, a very tight racetrack. Let's send it to Kristen.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Dalton Gauthier has 2 wins this season, while Dan Bromley is currently winless. Yet both riders are tied in the championship standings, so who will have the edge in a race with championship-leading implications? Well, Dalton Gauthier was our fastest qualifier. Dan Bromley won this race last year, but don't count out the rookie Dallas Daniels. He's coming off his first ever professional win at the Peoria TT, and today he told me, this is my home track. He said, the main line has a tendency to get a little slick, a little greasy, so you have to be confident pushing the cushion. He said it takes a lot of finesse to race here in Springfield, and that is something that Dallas Daniels is bringing to the table here tonight, guys.
Going to be interesting to see how the rookie slots in with a tie at the top of the standings. Maybe a little pressure for both Gauthier and Bromley. I know Bromley said he's not thinking about that pressure, but come on, it's tied for the points lead, and he's been pushed back to 6th on the grid because he didn't finish as well in the semi as he liked, so we'll see if he can make up ground.
Track position's going to be critical at this Springfield short track. But they're both feeling the pressure. I don't care what they say.
That's right.
They're lying if they're not feeling the pressure.
So here it is. We're going to do 20 laps on the short track in AFT singles. Chad Coase, an amazing jump on that Suzuki, the yellow number 49 out front. Dallas Daniels right with him. Some tangle-ups in the back. Everybody stays upright. And I think Bromley is in the hunt with a good start as well. And Bromley not wasting time, going for the lead.
Bromley really known for coming on late in these races. 20-lap main, he's being aggressive early, trying to get around Coase to take the lead and start riding away.
Well, he has to because Gauthier, his championship rival, is right behind him in 3rd. So he's looking for an opening. He wants to run and hide. No, look at this. Ferran Cardus, the Spaniard, makes the surprise attack and takes 3rd away from Gauthier.
Gauthier back to 4th. Seeing his championship rival starting to get away from him, he's got to go.
Oh, doing everything he can to work that low line. We heard it's slick down there. Can he make it work on Cardus? It's a great battle for 3rd. He did not give up on it, and it's going to pay off. Makes the move.
Seemed like the first couple laps, Gauthier was trying to find an alternate line, maybe try to run that outside as that inside started to slicken up. But he's right around the inside now, starting to make time, chasing down Bromley.
Yeah, he is caught right back up. And Chad Coase, he's the one going to try to take advantage if these two hook up in a battle. Coase looking for his 2nd win of the year. Right up on that cushion, and there's the battle. Gauthier, we're on board, and he's inside, and he makes the move. That was huge for the championship. Whoever finishes out front of each other is going to be the points leader at the end of the night, and you can tell Bromley's motivated to get him back.
Does Bromley have anything to get back around Gauthier? You can see him, he gets in there very hard on the front brakes, starts to lose the nose, loses some time.
Yep, and a mistake coming out as he tried to recover. And meanwhile, Gauthier is now going for the lead. Whoa! Almost threw it away.
Hit a huge rut there on the back straightaway. You can see Gauthier is on the throttle. He's already chased down Coase, starting to lead Bromley.
And a tightrope game. They're trying to find that cushion, AJ. It looks pretty slick down there on the inside.
You can see Coase kind of riding the bike a lot straighter. Gauthier being aggressive, throwing that rear tire, finding the cushion. He's going to look under him here. Can't quite get him.
Okay, now he knows where he wants to set up for the pass. Halfway mark of this one, Chad Coase clinging to the lead. Dalton Gauthier, it would be huge for him to get a win late in the season like this and reclaim sole possession of the points lead. There was not room. He had the speed, but he almost ran into the back of the 49.
The previous lap there, Gauthier took a look over his left shoulder, knowing that he's getting away from Bromley. He can start searching for different lines to get around Chad Coase.
Bromley's got to get desperate. He can't let Gauthier get away, and now Gauthier going way high. Can it work? Back to the inside. Side by side, a mistake from Coase. Gauthier in the lead.
What a move by Dalton Gauthier. Kind of tricked Chad Coase thinking he was going to go to the high line. Made the undercut on him, got the drive off turn 4, a little bit of contact, but he's got the lead, now riding away.
Yes, let's see if his pace can carry him away from the rest of the field. Looks like Coase, Bromley, and is that Dallas Daniels up in the mix? Daniels looking to take the podium away from Bromley.
Dallas Daniels could care less about who's fighting for the championship. Just got his first career win at the previous event. He wants another one.
And he makes the pass. Bromley's going to have to be desperate now to get him back. And we knew this kid could potentially be a championship spoiler, and he's right there right now because he's put that Eskinson Yamaha. Whoa, not for long. Bromley comes back. And now Bromley, I think, is going to have to take a shot at Coase. He needs to at least finish second, and he is getting aggressive. 2 passes in 1 lap.
With 4 laps to go, uses the shoulder. That big body of his leans on Chad Coase, gets around, and because of that, Dallas Daniels gets around Coase as well for the final podium spot. But Dan Bromley, he keeps finishing on the podium, but he's tired of not winning.
And he is trying to track down Gauthier. I'd say the last 2 or 3 laps, he was a little bit quicker than the leader. Is there time? 2 to go. The mistake out of turn 4 by Bromley. That cost him a bit. And Gauthier stretches it back out. Daniels and Coase still lurking in 3rd and 4th.
Dalton Gauthier going for his 3rd win this year. 1 lap to go. What a response. The last couple of races, Bromley's chipped away at his championship lead. Dalton is responding.
And Bromley tried to track him down late. And Gauthier did not put a wheel wrong under pressure. Turn 3, turn 4, it's over. Dalton Gauthier is back on top in the singles class of American Flat Track. Bromley threw everything he had at it. The 2 championship rivals go 1-2, and they keep it clean there at the end. They congratulate each other. Coase and Daniels had a great race down to the line, but little extra in the tank for these 2 riders who needed it so badly.
For sure, when you're battling your championship competitor, you're tied in points, just that momentum. Yeah, that win is huge, but having that momentum over your championship competitor is even bigger.
Let's send it down to Kristen, who has, I'm sure, a very happy winner.
Dalton Gauthier with the win here in Springfield. Dalton, Chad Coase was racing you so defensively. How were you able to plan that pass from the outside to the inside? And on top of that, how valuable is this momentum moving forward in the championship?
Well, that helped my confidence a bunch to know that, but didn't get the greatest start. I was really bummed about that, but stayed patient. I knew it was going to be a long race, and got in the second. I seen Chad was a bit away, and he made 1 bottle and squared him off and made the pass, and then just tried to do consistent laps. And I knew Dan was coming, but yeah, it was a long race, and had a lot of fun.
How good does it feel now knowing that you're leaving this race as the current points leader once again in the American Flat Track singles class?
Yeah, it's always nice to get points on your title rival, so stoked about this. The guys had my bike working awesome, and just everybody that's helped me get here. My first year back in 2 years, this season has been really fun, and I'm having a blast.
And now a 5-point lead for Gauthier. We're headed to Williams Grove, Pennsylvania next. And you know Bromley's going to try to fight back. Rush was okay today, finished 5th, but now almost a full race back in the standings. Let's talk about Bromley's run. He is on the podium.
Dan, in one fell swoop, you found a line that allowed you to pass both Chad Coase and Dallas Daniels. What inspired that line selection?
I think mainly just the shape of the track. You know, it was a super kind of squarish, so if they came a little wide, I can get a little under. And the biggest thing for me is I can use my size. I'm a little bit bigger of a guy, so for me to be able to just get under them, kind of push them a little bit, kind of helped my advantage. And yeah, like you said, we came from 4th to 2nd, and I kind of got near Dawn a little bit, but he ran a great race. And for me to come out here 2nd and only 5 points out, it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either because we only have 3 races left. But hats off the entire Roof Systems of Dallas, Red Bull KTM team for all their support, and my whole family back home for watching.
Well, Dallas Daniels was in the fight here on this blue Yamaha the whole time. He eventually moved up into a podium spot and fought off Chad Coates to hold it. He has 1 professional win in his career. He's just getting started, and he backs it up with a podium. Look out, he is on the rise and on the podium.
2 consecutive podiums for Dallas Daniels. Dallas, earlier in the day, you told me that this is the track where you made your first start, and now to finish on the podium here tonight. I know you wanted the win, but you've got to be pretty satisfied with that performance.
Yeah, it was just 1 bad start costed us tonight. With these expert guys, you can't make 1 hiccup or they're going to be right on you. But it's just me learning. I mean, it's just expert racing. That's how it's going to be, and I'm going to learn. But another podium here at home, which is really cool. 2 consecutive podiums in Illinois, my rookie season. 1 being a win. It's awesome. And my sister's actually been in the hospital the past couple days with an infection, so that's why I got this on there for Reese Cup, and this one's for her.
That's a great story there, and he's developing a great one of his own. But Dalton Gauthier, Robbie Bobby, and everybody else on his crew are going to celebrate the singles class win, and then he's going to be back to race Production Twins. Stay with us. American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Indian Motorcycle. Be legendary. By Vance and Hines, the presenting sponsor of AFT Twins. By American Flat Tracker Clothing Company. Find your groove at AmericanFlatTracker.com. Back to the big mile track of the Illinois State Fairgrounds. We're going to bring the Production Twins class out. A new points-paying championship this year, but a familiar face won our last race in Sacramento, Dalton Gauthier. Dalton Gauthier, the 122, has his first win of the year in Production Twins, also the first ever win for that Black Hills Harley-Davidson team.
I knew they knew I could win, so they weren't too surprised, but they were super stoked for the first win on the XG, and I was really happy. I knew what I just did, so.
Robbie Bobby is fired up. Go take a ride on that thing. You win in the Sacramento Mile. That's something worth celebrating.
When you're riding a twin really good, you're on top of your game, it feels like the best thing ever. So it's a big opportunity, and I jumped full board onto it.
This is going to be big for Gauthier, who is, by the way, yes, also your points leader in the singles division.
Get a good run. Be able to pass Corey Texter down the back straightaway, entering turn 3 on the outside.
It couldn't have went any better, honestly, of how everything went. We all gel really well together, so having Robbie as my mechanic on this, too, helps a bunch, because he knows what I want. Everything molds together, honestly. The power is really good, and I feel like the handling is great, so I have a good shot at winning every race, I feel like now, and it's just going to get better from here. The guys at Black Hills Harley-Davidson, Vance and Hines, and everybody at Harley works really hard on the bikes week in and week out, and I feel like they gave me a really good bike to win on SAC, and I feel like it's not going to be any different here at Springfield.
And welcome to the Springfield Mile. Dalton Gauthier, he moves into the top spot.
Last time I was here, I could have won, but Brian Wells got away too quick, and I had to chase him down. I only had 2 laps to try and make a pass, but I didn't make it happen, so I finished second. But I know what I need to do to win. I feel like I ride the twin really good, and we're here at Springfield Mile, so it's one of my favorite tracks, and just gonna do the same thing, have fun, and do my best. It's my first year back in 2 years, and I feel like the more I have fun, the better I ride. So I'm just gonna try and get more wins for these guys and show them that I can be up front every race and give them maybe a championship if I can keep winning.
And as big as the win was for Dalton, also big for his team. Now, he does have Robbie Bobby, who's his crew chief from the singles side, helping him out in the Production Twins. But there's the legendary Terry Vance, a big part of this team, and Terry Reimer as well, who want to go to the top in the production class.
It's kind of been a long time coming. We've been struggling a lot for the last couple of years, just trying to get things right and get the motor right and the performance and the durability right. So to see it now doing what it's doing and actually winning some AFT races. It's really a special moment for us, for Vance and Hines, for Harley-Davidson, and obviously for Harley-Davidson dealers.
Obviously, it's Harley-Davidson. It's important to the sport. It's important to everyone, you know, to see the Harley-Davidson do well. And there's been a lot of hard work put into this program. And Dalton just come through the, you know, he just went around everyone and just kind of checked out. Getting that win was really exciting for us, exciting for the team, and just excited to see more today.
I really liked the crowd reaction more than anything. I mean, they started cheering for him on the cool-off lap from the time he came out of 4 all the way to the start-finish line. So that was a big moment for Harley-Davidson, for the team, and for all the work that we've been doing. So we're really happy to see that happening, really happy to see what's happening. James and Dalton both are just doing an outstanding job riding the bikes. So it's good for us on the development side, for our pro twins. So we're real excited about the whole program right now.
Corey Texter, though, got the jump on everyone in this class, won the first 3 races, has a nice points lead.
Corey Texter for sure came out hot, but we've seen other riders, especially Dalton Gauthier last race, starting to figure out this production twins class and making some headway on Corey Texter.
Also, Colby Carlisle and the Estenson Yamaha running well, 136 in our main event, led early, but here come those Harley-Davidsons, both the 71 of Rispoli and the 122 of Gauthier. Gauthier goes wide.
Gauthier around the outside. That's how he made the pass for the lead at Sacramento. Does the same thing here at Springfield. Gets a great drive off turn 4 and would go on to dominate this race.
Yep, they didn't get close enough to draft him to the line. Back-to-back wins for Gauthier and a nice finish there at the end, very close. And it looks like the edge goes to Carlisle, but Terry Reimer and everyone at the Black Hills Harley-Davidson team happy to have another win with Gauthier. And if you look, another not-so-good run for your points leader, Texter. So maybe there's an opportunity for these guys to make a late run for the championship. Lead is 22 over Varnes. Gauthier now into 4th, down just 39 points. And J.R. Addison, by the way, had a good run on the 24. He is 5th in this new championship. But right now, it's all about Gauthier. Let's send it back to Kristen.
Back-to-back wins in the production twins class. And after you took the checkered flag, Terry Vance walked over to me and he said, that kid is special. Dalton, during that race, you found a line that no one else was running. How did you find it?
Well, my teammates on the factory team in the big twins class, Jared Vanderkoy, I want to thank him a bunch. He told me right before the main that if I go up wide, it's pretty tacky up there. So I did it, and after a couple laps, I was running in the bottom behind them guys, and I was like, nah, I'm going up to the top. So it worked, and this thing was working like a dream. Just like Sacramento, put in some consistent laps and pulled away. And can't thank the whole Black Hills Harley-Davidson, Vance and Hines, everybody that's on my team. I'm having a blast riding this Harley and making it look easy. So that's what I like, and I'm having fun.
Now, in racing on the big Illinois State Fairgrounds track, the mile, it's all about horsepower. That's going to get the majority of the attention, the draft, but always tires are a factor, so it's time for Dunlop Tire Talk.
The R8 is definitely the tire of choice here. We have an option of an 8 or a 10, but the 8 has a much lower durometer, so it's designed better for grip. This is not so much of an abrasive track, but it's more of a really fast, where the tires get really hot, so they require a lower durometer so they can grip to the track a little bit better.
And in talking to the riders, they feel like there is grip with those Dunlops all over this racetrack. A wide groove should lead to amazing racing in our Twins main event. This is it, the Springfield Mile. Next. It's the Springfield Mile. This is the crown jewel of American flat track. We expect some great racing here. Let's send it to Kristen.
Jared Mees has to win this race, or at least finish in front of Briar Bauman to effectively stay in the hunt for the championship. And he's proven that he can do that here at Springfield. He also has a significant advantage with Briar Bauman starting from the back row. But he told me earlier in the day, it's not always the fastest rider or the best bike that wins here. He told me you have to be smart, you have to be strategic, you have to time your passes and be at the right place at the right time. He said you have to play chess. And that is exactly the game that Jared Mees is looking to play moving into this main event. Guys, anyone playing checkers is going to be left in the dust.
Yep, checkers ain't gonna get it done. This is high-speed chess. Mees does have the good spot on the grid, Brandon Robinson also, but it doesn't matter. You can pass easily on a mile track with the draft.
This is true, Jason, but Briar Bauman, he has to get a good start Jared Mees starting up front. We saw in the semi, if Jared Mees gets away, he can start to pull a gap on everybody. So Briar Bauman starting last has to get a good start.
Here we go, the Springfield Mile. And Bauman does get a good jump in the back row. Remember, he had to use a provisional to make the main. Meanwhile, Mees going to lead them into turn 1. Nice move on the outside. See the light-colored leathers of the winner of this race a year ago, the 23. That's Jeffrey Carver, and he's right there ready to draft Mees. Bronson Bauman third.
Briar running the guardrail around the inside from last all the way up to 7th, going into turn 3.
That didn't take long, so he's right there in contention as Carver looks for running room on the leader, Mees. How will they play it? Down the front stretch for the first time.
You already start to build your notebook right here. Jeffrey Carver figuring, can I get by Jared Mees? Where is he stronger? They're already starting to work on their strategy to figure out, after 24 laps, what am I going to do on that last lap?
Couple riders to watch experimenting with the low line. So the 20, the Harley-Davidson of Vanderkoy, also that 44 of Robinson experimenting as well. He's got to make that work, Robinson, because the top 3 trying to break away early.
I love the sound of these bikes here at Springfield. Off turn 4, everybody on the throttle. Down the front straightaway, Jared Mees is going to lead the second lap. Maybe starting to pull a small gap already over third.
And Bauman trying to make moves. He was 4th, looks like 5th, trying to fight off the 21. Oh, there's the 4, by the way, of Brian Smith, winner of the 2nd Springfield Mile last year, but Smith on a new motorcycle this year. Let's see how he performs. And the 21 is Steve Vanderker. Doesn't race all the races, but whenever he shows up, he's quick. But right now, the quickest is Mees. Can he pull away from Carver? Or can Carver stay in that draft?
This is how Jared Mees is so strong on mile racetracks. He can ride his bike straight, not use up those Dunlop tires, figure out when it's time to go. Jeffrey Carver still hanging on, though. We see Brandon Robinson make the move into third over Bronson Bauman.
Good to see Robinson back up to speed. A wrist injury cost him a lot of points. He was right in there for the championship early in the season. Right now in a battle, and he just got passed by Bronson Bauman. We will see how Robinson can respond on the 44.
Off turn 4, running over 100 miles per hour down these straightaways. We can see Bronson, he's starting to lose Jeffrey Carver a little bit. More importantly, running 5th, Briar sees this. He might start panic a little bit, knowing that he's got to get up to the lead.
Yeah, I'm really curious the strategy right now for Carver, who has stuck with Mees. Are they trying to just, hey, we're going to break away, and we'll worry about each other later, because it almost looks like they're working in cahoots. We have not seen a pass attempt by the 23 yet.
Well, remember at Sacramento, it seemed like Jared Mees was trying to slow the pack down, keep more riders involved. Right now, he sees Jeffrey Carver behind him, knows that's not the bike that is supposed to be behind him. That's not Briar Bauman. So he's wanting those guys to get away, try to put as many people in between him and Briar as possible.
Good run here by the 4 of Smith all the way down low. Smith always good in these mile tracks. Got that Crosley-Howerton machine with the Kawasaki power. Have not seen him up front this season like usual. So it's a real wild card. We don't know exactly what to expect. Meanwhile, the leaders continue to pull away. Let's send it down to Kristen with more.
During qualifying, Jeffrey Carver pulled off track. The bike quit mid-lap. The same problem he had back in Sacramento. Now, Ben Evans, his mechanic, went to work on the bike, but they've had some fine-tuning issues this year, and this is the last place Carver wanted to deal with it. He's on his backup bike, but he seems to be in a good spot now. We'll see if he can work through these obstacles from earlier in the day.
Yeah, for a backup bike, it sure is strong. SNS onboard shows Mees with the 23 of Carver right behind him, and further and further in the distance, the rest of the field.
And we don't see the 14 bike. Briar's back to 7th right now. These two, Jared Mees, Jeffrey Carver, they're starting to stretch it out on everyone else.
Rider to watch right now is Smith, who is finding his form. He's moved up to 4th and trying to make a move on Bronson for 3rd. That's the good news. The bad news is, have these two broken away enough? Oh, that low line for Smith. He almost came together with Bronson Bauman.
Every time a move like that happens, it slows that second pack down. These two seem like they're just working together. We're on board Bronson Bauman, the factory Indian motorcycle. Brian Smith looks like he's cleared him, put Bronson back to 4th.
Yes, but it's going to be so tough for Brian Smith to try to bridge that gap without a draft. You got Robinson right there as well in the 44. Vanderker not going anywhere. Awesome to have these shots. It is amazing in American flat track how close they run at triple-digit speeds. We are talking a game of literally inches here.
It seems like Jeffrey Carver's being smart. He's riding behind Jared Mees, not slowing them down, knowing that these two are pulling away. He wants to settle it between himself and Jared Mees.
This low line has been working for Smith. Looks like he has control of third place now. Got to drift back up. Trying to get a run around the outside, though, is Bronson to get him back. I think it worked for Bronson. No, it did not. They had to file in the line. Now Robinson on a run with a big head shake.
I've noticed that with Brandon Robinson's bike down both straightaways. Woo! The death wobble, it seems like, but he's holding on to that thing and obviously not getting out of the throttle.
No, that is amazing. But a lot of time talk to these guys after the race, they won't even remember that it happened. It's so natural to them. 10 laps down, 15 to go. Not a full attack yet from Carver. Content to just run the pace with Mees, at least for now.
Steven Vanderker, we see there, he's moved into third. Him, Brian Smith, Bronson Bauman, Brandon Robinson, and Breyer just hanging on the end of this pack, running seventh still.
Really curious to see what Smith and Vanderker can do. Can they work together to try to catch these two from third and fourth? Or will that group keep battling while the leaders pull away? We're not even halfway through the first leg of the Springfield Mile on a doubleheader weekend. Stay with us. Great battle for the lead with 5 to go here in the Springfield Mile. And now it appears it's time for Jeffrey Carver to put the attack on Jared Mees. He's been content to hang out, but not for long.
We see unless something happens here, it's going to be a battle for the win between Jared Mees and Jeffrey Carver. Brian Smith, he's third, but that pack is nowhere close to battling with these two.
It would still be big for Smith to get on the podium. It has been a tough season for the 2016 Series champion. But the focus is here, Mees and Carver. Carver's so good in these mile tracks, won this race a year ago. Obvious, the credentials of Mees, won the last 2 championships, and he has pretty much circled these miles at the end of the year as must-wins to try to get the title. It's up to Carver to try to take it away this time.
You have seen the line start to widen out. Jared Mees almost running the top around the Springfield Mile. The age-old question. Where do you want to be going into turn 3? More importantly, where do you want to be coming off of turn 4? It's a game here. They're both trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and the lines as well. A lot of the riders surprised how much the line drifted up. Old school Springfield, they used to try to run the rail down there. Now they're not even close to it. So they're trying to read the terrain, read the moisture, read the traction. And these two are reading each other. You said at the very beginning of the show, Carver is building his notebook. What is he going to do when the white flag comes out?
We're going to find out. 3 laps to go. On board with Jared Mees, Jeffrey Carver. Looks like he says, I'm going to go take the lead. I want to lead this race with 3 to go and make Jared Mees make the move on me.
Okay, so a big change in the strategy here. He was content to follow, led a little bit at mid-race, but now he's going to try to get away on the roof systems of Dallas, Texas, Indian Metro Milwaukee machine. He's a privateer, but on these tracks, he is just as capable as the factory Indian of Mees. He is really pouring it on, and now Carver trying to break away.
I like what he did there. He went down to the guardrail on the inside, tried a different line, see if he could break the draft. Jared Mees, look at, he's playing a game there.
Oh, yeah.
He's just seeing if he can get around Jeffrey Carver at the line. I like what I saw there out of Jared Mees.
Yeah, I think he could have made the pass. He chose not to do it. So now we are on edge. It has come down to these two. So strong on this track. They both want to win it so badly. Mees setting him up for the draft on the backstretch again and again. Does not take the lead. He's just testing the waters.
This is what makes Jared Mees the master around these places. Knowing how to play the game, knowing the best place to make the move. We've seen it the last 2 laps now. He's basically playing a game with Jeffrey Carver. He knows where the best spot is to make the move.
Will it be in the backstretch? Will that be too early for Mees to take the lead? Maybe Carver wants him by before they go into turn 3. Out of turn 2 we go. Here's the backstretch. Mees could make the pass here, but will he?
Down the back straightaway, he does make the move. Makes the move clear into turn 3. Jeffrey Carver gonna try to slide under him.
And there it is, Carver gets the line. Carver drifting wide. Can he get the drive off the corner, though? He's way up in the loose dirt. That puts Mees back in the lead. Carver's going to have to drive past. Not going to happen. Jared Mees takes Springfield mile number 1. And what? Briar Bauman somehow salvages a podium. Did not even see him in the top 5 for a lot of this race. Let's just talk about the run up front. Carver tried that inside line. He couldn't quite hold it, and that opened the door for this crew. Jared Mees to get the win.
I really felt like Jeffrey Carver knew that Jared Mees could draft by him pretty easy down the straightaway, so he tried to go in the corner, slide up in front of him, take Jared Mees' momentum away, but he got in too deep. Jared Mees was able to turn back under him and ride away down the front straightaway to win another Springfield mile.
And we have the FCS on board. There it is, a little bit too wide for Carver, and that allowed him to lose touch and could not try to draft back past. And ultimately, the win goes to Mees. Bauman salvaging a podium, starting in dead last on the back row with the provisional start. And here's the rest of the field in another spectacular Springfield mile, but it's only the first. It's a doubleheader. Let's go to the Motul move of the race and show you how Mees got this one.
See here down the back straightaway, Jared Mees knew that this was the place to make the move into turn 3. Jeffrey Carver, knowing how fast Jared Mees is down the straightaway, tries to throw a block pass on him, gets in just a little bit too deep. Jared Mees sees it coming, comes off turn 4 there, Jason.
Yeah, he just missed where the traction was by a few inches. That's all Mees needs. That's why he's a multi-time champ. He'll take advantage of even the slightest error. He has to win these races, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Jared Mees with me now, along with his biggest cheerleader. Jared, how were you able to manage that race, and was that last lap strategy reactionary? Did you have it all planned out? Take me through that last lap.
You know, I went out there and was just running my own race and pressing really hard from the word go, and I knew Jeffrey was going to be the strongest guy. Looked back and I seen Carver was just trailing me, and I'm like, I know what he's doing. So, I don't know, about a little over halfway, I scaled it back, let him go, see where he was running at, see if he was trying to set me up, and I just knew exactly what he was going to do and played it off perfect. So my bike ran so strong today, it was so hooked up, the Olin suspension was so good, and big hats off to my entire team. It was a fun day, it really was. The track was really cool, it was different, where we could ride so many different lines in the corners, and I really enjoyed myself.
And something else to enjoy, he is whittling the points lead down a bit.
Jared Mees is doing everything that he can. Go out there and win a race. He can't control what Briar Bauman does, but Jared Mees winning this race, 4 more to go.
Yep, but Bauman salvages a podium. Let's find him there.
Briar, a triumphant day where you exampled so much resiliency. From starting in the back of the pack, you got a good start, worked your way forward, but one pass seemed a little bit easier than the rest. Take me through that exchange between you and your brother Bronson.
I don't know what he did, but I think he helped me out a little bit off turn 2. Brian, we had a pretty aggressive line, skimming the inside guardrail and kind of getting some front ends. So Bronson kind of slid in behind me and kind of let me do my deal into turn 3, which made it a little bit easier for us to both be ahead of Smith. And yeah, all in all, the Indian motorcycle powered by Progressive, both our bikes were awesome. To be in a group for the podium is incredible for both of us. We've never been the mile type, so to do that is huge. And this one's from Maddie Scott. I know it's not a win, but it's a third, and her dad, Wade Scott, she rode with me the whole way.
So Jared Mees takes the win, and Jeffrey Carver second. That helps him gain a few more points on Briar Bauman, but it is not over. Another race looms.
American Flat Track on NBCSN is brought to you by Vance and Hines, the presenting sponsor of AFT Twins. By Roof Systems of Dallas, Texas, the entitlement sponsor of AFT Singles. And by American Flat Tracker Clothing Company. Find your groove at AmericanFlatTracker.com.
Sunoco go the distance towards standings. We added 25 miles in the main event alone tonight to the season tally. Bronson Bauman has the most miles logged through practice qualifying and racing this year. Now Jeffrey Carver ran 25 excellent miles in our 25-lap main event tonight, but he comes up just short of Jared Mees. Still has to be proud to give him a run for his money.
Jeffrey Carver racing in his home state, finishing on the podium. Jeffrey, on your B bike tonight, so the backup bike, a few mechanical errors earlier in the day put you at a disadvantage, but you're able to climb your way, fight your way back into contention. You battled with Jared Mees. Take me through that race. What was it like for you?
You know, I've always been an attacker, and especially out here on these miles, I grew up racing short tracks, motocross, stuff like that. And I know Jared's usually got it figured, and I thought maybe there's a chance, you know, just kind of move in and not having so many guys to battle with would be a good idea. And just kind of went out there and kind of played it cool, watching where he was better. And, you know, he had a really good motorcycle, and he was really good out there today. But like I said, the adversity we overcame today with the roof systems from Dallas, Texas team, you know, with Indiana Metro Milwaukee. It's an amazing setup, and just really happy to have another day like tomorrow to go back at it and put on a show for all the fans. They were loving it. The crowd was raging, and it's beautiful to be here.
Much more to come because this is a doubleheader at Springfield. So we're going to have another Production Twins main and another Twins class main. We'll also check in with the mile master, Brian Smith, trying to get some rejuvenation here at one of his favorite tracks. Back to the Springfield mile, second leg of our doubleheader. So we're going to bring the Production Twins class back out. And there is a championship on the line for the first time in this class and with some championship drama. Remember this guy, Dalton Gauthier, won our first leg a day ago. Well, he has bike problems here on the 122 in his semi. He's gonna let go right here, puts the hand up so everybody knows. So he's aiming for 3 straight wins and a last ditch bid for the championship. But instead he's gonna have to use a provisional and start in the back of the main. Let's get an update from Gauthier.
These guys at Harley are working really hard to get my bike back together, so I can't thank them enough. And I know we'll have a rocket in the main event, so I'm going in the front, and that's all I can wish for is get a good start and try and get in the lead group and try and do what I did Saturday, is just put in consistent laps and try and run away with it. But it's going to be a little bit harder this time.
And a lot of work for the team because his teammate James Rispoli had his issues also.
They had to change motors on that Harley. We see there Corey Texter needing some momentum, struggle in the last couple of races, still leading the points. Colby Carlisle. And we see that Dalton Gauthier, he talked about needing a good start. He just wanted to get with the front group. Watch this first lap. Around the outside, off of turn 2, we see him there. Already up to 6 down the back straightaway, Jason. He wanted more.
He starts in last. Keep that in mind on the 122. We're only halfway through the first lap. He's going low and about to pass nearly the entire field in 1 lap.
Up to second here off of turn 4.
Well, you got to be rooting for him to use this draft. Can he go from last to first in 1 lap? Almost gets there. Carlisle's going to hold on to lead lap 1, but then Gauthier immediately into the lead at the beginning of lap 2. Max Whale goes down. Luckily, the Australian does appear to be okay. Gauthier's got this, and he has his teammate Rispoli right behind him, so looking good for the Black Hills Harley-Davidson team until this.
Something goes wrong with the bike once again. Dalton Gauthier, you can just see the frustration. Probably a few words that can't be mentioned said in his helmet. Frustrated knowing that he had a chance to go win another championship.
Yeah, and go worse to first. So now it's Rispoli battling it out with Carlisle. This comes right down to the wire, but also watch on the inside, Corey Texter. Boom! Needed the points.
Ryan Barnes was his closest championship contender. He moved him out of the way. But more importantly, Colby Carlisle to the line, gets his first Production Twins win.
That's big for the Flying Tomato, former champion in the singles class. Estenson Yamaha has been putting him on this bike. They want the title. Consistency, normally Colby's calling card, and he is still in title contention. Texter fourth behind John Cox. Rispoli holds on for second. Carlisle's not quite out of it because Texter not as strong as he was at the beginning of the season.
3 races to go within a race. Now distance of points. Ryan Barnes, he's minus 24. 3 guys really contending for this championship. Down to Kristen.
Colby Carlisle, you had to make one big pass during that race, and you had to work your way around James Rispoli and the Harley-Davidsons, which had been so dominant today. Take me through that pass around James in the final lap.
Yeah, you know, me and John Cox were dicing it up a lot, and I told him, you know, if there's any chance of winning this thing, get in line with me, and he must have done it. I knew I had a little bit of speed on James, and, you know, my crew worked so hard for me, and they had this bike amazing all weekend, so it's been all year. We deserve a win, and I'm glad I can finally give my crew one. You know, that's awesome for them. I can't thank Estenson Racing, Monster Energy, Yamaha, Yamalube enough for getting me here.
Well, we're getting to here, which will be the main event of our twins class. Been a long weekend, but a doubleheader in the miles. That's exactly what Brian Smith, 2016 Series champ, wants. Been a rough season for him, but these are his best tracks, and he's hoping Springfield can help him get back up front.
Springfield Mile is the Indy 500 of flat track. The highest speeds we reach on the track, 130 mile an hour. Into the corner sideways. We're drafting back and forth, elbow to elbow. It's the biggest, fastest track on the circuit. Racing miles is my favorite thing. It's what I dream about at night sometimes. The draft, the strategy, the outsmarting the other guy, that's what really does it for me. You're just thinking, what are you gonna do coming off turn 4 with 100 feet to go? You wanna be third, you wanna be second, you wanna be leading it. You gotta make your mind up at 130 in a couple seconds. It's intense. It makes me scared to watch sometimes, but I'm cool doing it. Here we are, Springfield Mile, turn 4. It's kind of where you can make or break your whole day, your whole race. It all depends on staying on the groove, typically, the last lap, going to the checker flag. You got a very short window to get a run, get a good draft, but basically this can make or break your whole day.
Right to the line, at the stripe, it's going to be Smith.
2018 Springfield Mile. That race was a typical chess match, back and forth between myself and Jared Mees most of the time. But I just set Jared up just right coming off turn 4 and got just the right slingshot and went on by him. Won by about that much. ...2019 for me has been a bummer. Basically, it's the best way to sum it up. It's been not so cool running in the back, running mid-pack. You know, I'm racing a Kawasaki against the Indians, which I wanted. It's just been hard to beat the Indians, harder than I thought it would be. So Ricky and the boys have gave me everything I've needed. We've tried different stuff, tested different stuff, reinvented the wheel about 10 times this season, and we keep getting closer and closer to a win, and been on the podium once, but I'm not happy. I wanna get back up on the top step of the podium.
Well, we know Brian Smith expects his motorcycle to be fast on these tracks, and speed does matter, but it's difficult on engines as well, and his lets go in his semi.
Brian Smith will have to use a provisional. Every rider gets one provisional a year, so as long as somebody ahead of him in points doesn't use it, he'll be in the main event today.
But look at this battle. Yeah, the factory, Vance and Hines. Harley's going out of the 69 of slamming Sammy Halbert, taking the win. And his teammate Vanderkoy right behind in third with Brandon Robinson between them. Could we be looking at a Harley win tonight? They're certainly favorites. We go to semi 2. I got bad news for Brian Smith. Jared Mees, of all people, his engine expires as well.
This is unbelievable. We saw Briar Bauman in the first Springfield Mile have a problem. Now Jared Mees, he will have to start at the back using the provisional to get in today's main event.
And that's the news for Brian Smith. You're out because Mees, who's further in points, is in. And then it leaves the Bauman brothers dueling for the win in this semi. Bronson and his brother Briar. Jared Mees is going to have to start on the back row of the main event. He knows he has to make up points in every one of these miles. His team is scrambling to just even get him into this race. Looks like they're going to go to the backup bike. Can he recover? Meanwhile, can Sammy Halbert or Vanderkoy bring Harley to victory lane? Can Mees even get into the race? High drama here in Springfield. Rain delayed this final Springfield Mile of 2019 by 1 day, and it has certainly impacted the racetrack. But they can't ask questions about it. They just got to go. Because Briar Bauman has a 30-point lead over Jared Mees. Mees already won the first leg of our doubleheader earlier this weekend. But he's got to start from the back row because his engine broke in qualifying and he had to use a provisional. So many storylines to track. Let's send it to Kristen Beat.
30 points currently separate Jared Mees from Briar Bauman in the championship hunt. Jared, how do you motivate yourself to close the gap today at this race?
You know, it's Springfield Mile. You go out there and a start's not the most important at this race. So to go out there and have a few good clean laps in the very beginning and get to the front. You know, we've had a mixed fortune in there in the semi, but we're going to come from the back row, and I predict still winning this thing.
I know you stand by the fences and generally watch the production twins in other classes. Did seeing Dalton Gauthier work his way from last to first within 2 laps inspire you at all?
I mean, like I said, this is a multi-line racetrack, and a lot of momentum's built here, so it definitely wasn't a surprise.
So can he do it from the back row? And by the way, Briar Bauman started in the back row at the last race, and he finished third, so it is possible. But Sammy Halbert and the Harleys on the pole.
I'm really looking forward to see how this racetrack develops over 25 laps. More moisture, it seems like it's keeping all the riders packed up.
Should be great racing. We're going to bring you all 25 laps here at NBCSN. Can Halbert get the win? Can Mies come from behind? Can Bauman score an upset? We're underway. And both the Harleys rocket to the front. You see him in the orange leathers. Halbert, Van der Kooi around the outside. There's Briar down low. He has never won a mile. Would be no better time than now, and he's already into the lead.
Down the back straightaway there, we see Steven van der Kooi up to second. He's so strong in these miles, Jason. Shows up for a couple of races a year. Every time he's in them, he's up front.
Yeah, he was a contender at our last one 2 days ago. Wow, they are going abnormally high on the groove for Springfield. We talked about the excess moisture. How are they all going to play at the race line? A lot different than usual.
Briar trying to make a breakaway from this pack, knowing that Jared Mies, starting at the rear of the field, is going to have to pass a lot of riders trying to get away, but that's going to be tough to do.
He's got 25 laps, though, to do it on a mile track, so it's going to be the longest race of the year. But can he catch up? Van der Kooi, he is the one to challenge Bauman. He's the only one still in the draft. I mean, Bauman could be checking out right now. If not for Van der Kooi, the rest of the field's going to have to regroup.
Will this be like the first Springfield mile? 2 riders trying to get away from the pack. We see Van der Kooi in the back there. Henry Wiles coming back from injury, running fourth.
And Van der Kooi to the lead. So any plans that Briar had of breaking that draft and getting away, it's over. Now he's in a battle, and that's going to allow everyone else to close the gap. That's good news. If you're a Jared Mies fan, it's going to be up to Van der Kooi. And yeah, you mentioned Wiles. Those are the 2 that got to bridge the gap right now.
We saw in the back of the shot there, Jared Mies hasn't made a lot of time so far, still running outside the top 10, trying to make his way up through this field. We see Briar Bauman trying to get around Steven van der Kooi to take back the lead.
See the 69 of Halbert, the 37 of Bronson Bauman. And Van der Kooi continues to lead. So great job by Van der Kooi. A couple laps led, gonna feel good. Maybe you can hold it all the way to the end, but you gotta figure that Briar Bauman is learning lessons back here, running in the draft. And he goes down to the inside and takes the lead back on the factory Indian motorcycle. And now the cavalry starting to close up, starting with Van der Kooi in third in the Harley. They've got the leaders back in sight.
Every time these riders make a pass on each other, they just slow down just that little bit. We see Van der Kooi now going to tuck behind Briar Bauman, but we see here, Jason, about 7 riders in the lead pack.
Van der Kooi out of Davidson, Michigan. You can see the AMSOIL logo there. That's his primary sponsor, making that thing work. But he better go right back onto the rear tire of Briar Bauman, because now you got the 44 of Robinson, the 20 of Van der Kooi, Wiles, Bauman. They're all right there now.
Brandon Robinson seems like whatever was happening to his bike the first race, they've smoothed it out a little bit. That thing is not wobbling around down the straightaways.
Jared Mies now into the top 10 in 9th. Let's give a call to the 23, Jeffrey Carver. Oh, there's the wiggle from Robinson. It's back, but he makes the pass at the same time.
Van der Kooi gets back under him. Brandon Robinson just makes me a liar, looks like, down the back, down the front straightaway. That bike wobbling again, but still on the throttle. We see their Carver at the tail end of this field, running 7th right now. Bronson Bauman, Henry Wiles.
Oh, this is heating up here, AJ. This is an amazing fight now after a 2-rider breakaway early. Van der Kooi continues to lead, but I can barely even count. What are we talking, 8 riders in contention for this right now?
Yeah, and out of those 8 riders, we don't see Jared Mies. He's running 10th. Brandon Robinson, the onboard Indian motorcycle, gets under Van der Kooi to take the lead.
Robinson, 2 wins in the season, a rejuvenation year for him. He started a team with some of his old crew members, said it's not about the money, it's the glory. Whoa! The glory, what? Vanderkeer was so close to that wall or even in it at over 100 miles an hour. That was scary.
Well, that started with Brandon Robinson. He got up against the wall, had to get out of the throttle just that little bit. Vanderkeer, he was pegged wide open. He didn't lift.
Yeah, hit the wall, wiggled, and now is going back to the lead. Vanderkeer gets it again, and now Bronson Bauman up to third. Breyer has been shoved back to fourth. That's not what the points leader wants.
Well over 100 miles per hour, these riders, they are getting after it. Down the back straightaway here, we see now we got about 11 riders in this lead pack.
And now in it is Jared Mees, who's running the low line. That's more of a traditional line here at Springfield. Everyone else drifting high, but the man in the number one started in dead last. He's made his way to the front half of the field now and getting around Jeffrey Carver, who we expect to be one of the strongest riders here.
Bronson Bauman to the lead. Yeah, I mean, every lap we're going to see a different rider take the lead, but with this group of riders staying packed up, Jason, I feel like Jared Mees, Vanderkeer's having trouble. Looks like he is broke. So disappointing.
A dream ride for the privateer, but it's not going to end the way he wanted it. He's out of it. That'll help Mees make up another position.
We see there, Vanderkeer so disappointed, but the SNS on board. Jared Mees, he's up to fourth. Back to my point, with these riders being so packed up, Jared Mees knows he could be patient. He didn't have to go out there full attack mode like Breyer did the first race because Carver and Jared Mees had gotten away. These riders are all grouped together now. Jared Mees up to fourth with his teammate right in front of him.
Yeah, incredible. Mees, from last on the grid, now has his main championship rival right in front of him. That's the 14 of Bauman. And I think Bauman just realized it. He's got to go around the outside now of Robinson to take second, and he wants his brother for the lead.
Bronson down the front straightaway, leading his brother Breyer, Brandon Robinson, but we see Jared Mees to the inside, fourth.
Can he go all the way to the lead? He started the race in last. Gets around Robinson, and he's around Breyer Bauman. So already in a position to make up points. Can he get around Bronson Bauman to get the lead? He's passed all but one motorcycle, and there it is. Jared Mees, worst to first here at Springfield.
Jared Mees is so good at these mile racetracks. He's good everywhere, but he's especially good on these mile racetracks, knowing how to get to the front. Now, the Bauman brothers, they have to figure out how to get around the teammate Bronson back to the lead into turn one.
And Breyer responds. Woo, that was a big move right there. They pushed Mees to third. Let's send it to Kristen.
Bronson and Breyer put some brotherly love on display Saturday. Bronson helping Breyer to the podium. Now, Bronson said everyone wants to win, but he feels good working with his brother. He said he can trust it. They can share notes. Breyer's the only rider with that entrusted resource. AJ, as a racer, how much does that benefit Breyer in this points war with Jared Mees?
It's so important when you know you have somebody, especially your brother, kind of working with you. That just helps kind of build the confidence, knowing who you're racing around, add some extra notes. But the funny thing is, Jason, Jared Mees, he's on the same team as well.
Yeah, they have two different trucks over there, but he has always been a good friend of Breyer Bauman. That's the funny thing about this battle for the title. Mees and the Bauman brothers have always gotten along very well. They've trained together, they've ridden together, they're teammates. How aggressive can they be with each other as this championship closes? Wow, I thought Mees had the line there. Bronson just able to hold him off.
Down the front straightaway. This is where that notebook starts building. Jared Mees gets around Bronson. Seems like pretty easy at the start-finish line. That's a big deal there. We see Breyer trying to move into second. The Harley guys, Halbert, Vanderkoy, they're in this mix.
Okay, that's good to see. They started well. They drifted back at one point. They're right back on the attack. And attacking is Mees using the draft. Sammy Halbert. He breaks up that Indian party up front and moves to third.
This is the last thing that Breyer Bauman wants to see. More riders involved. He'd rather have it just be him and Jared Mees. Of course, he wants to win, but if he finishes right behind Jared, that's not a lot of points lost. But Sammy Halbert, he doesn't care. He's had a tough season. He wants a victory.
Oh, yeah, obviously. They're all going for it right now. They're not making life easy on Breyer Bauman. If you notice, a couple of times they've made the move on Mees once he got the lead, but he's able to get it back at will. Let's see what the 69 of Halbert can do. And he's into the number one spot on the Harley.
This is what we love to see. Harley versus Indian. We haven't seen a lot of it this year. The Harley guys, they've been trying to figure out their bikes. It seems like Sammy Halbert, he's figured it out today.
But now the Indians come right back, all three of them en masse. Van der Kooi, Halbert's teammate, still in the fight. Same with the 44 of Robinson. And the way this racetrack has turned out, AJ, is incredible. They can run high, low, middle, anywhere they want, make passes at will. Pack racing, incredible action. Look at this group.
You can see there, Jared Mees. We've seen in the past around these miles racetracks, he kind of likes to lay in the back, behind the rider, figure out when it's time to go. When you have this many riders, you can't take a chance to fall back to 5th, 6th, 7th, get further back in the pack. So you can see Jared Mees trying to stay up front. Sammy Halbert, though, same plan, to the lead, Bronson Bauman up to 2nd.
Yeah, you explained it better than I did, but a little mistake, by the way, from Mees. He loses ground, but yes, it does look like, on average, it's either Mees or somebody else. Mees, somebody else. This is the first time since he's gotten up front that he's been shoved back even past the number 2 spot. Is this a problem?
We see Briar Bauman all this year. He's not afraid to go around the outside, making a run on the top. He gets up to 3rd behind Sammy Halbert.
We've seen great racing at Springfield year after year. That's why this is considered the premier stop in American flat track. But any race in history is going to have to struggle to keep up with this one. This is almost a throwback to those days back in the time when they'd all run down to the bottom, all run together. I can't even keep up. 10, 12 riders. The entire field still with a shot. Look at that charge by Mees under the draft.
Sammy Halbert looking at Jared Van der Kooi saying, teammate, come help me out. These factory Indian bites are attacking me. Jared Mees back to the lead.
Yeah, so not only Halbert, yes, Van der Kooi, they can work with each other. And bike wiggling, head shake, Halbert does not care. He wants a win, and he's back to the lead on the 69.
That's part of the reason I grew up loving American flat track racing. The hand off the handlebar, it's tucked, that bike shaking, the rider's pegged on the throttle, leaving it all on the line, showing how important Springfield is to win.
Top 10, all within 1 second, all coming to turns 3 and 4. Somehow Mees has fought his way back in the lead on the number 1. The 37, Bronson Bauman right there. And Brandon Price, the rookie, can't see the number. He's 192 on the inside. He's never won in the twins class. It's his first year. He is a contender now.
See Briar around the outside of Sammy Halbert trying to get into 3rd while his brother leads their teammate Jared Mees. Bronson leading. We see the top 4 there in the shot.
Halbert's not going away. They've tried several times to push him back to 4th. He comes right back on them. This is a dream run for him. It's been a while since Sammy's gotten a victory. But through it all, somehow Mees just keeps finding himself in the number 1 position. Everyone else has had their shot, but he's led a lot of laps in this second half. Halbert going to use the inside. Can he get Mees? Not quite.
5 laps to go. Down the back straightaway here. All these riders trying to figure out where the right place to be. See them side by side because of that bigger draft. Halbert's going to go from 4th to the lead into turn 3.
So is that pushing an even larger hole than we normally see?
It is.
So more dramatic passing. Halbert takes advantage. Then he's quickly shoved back to 2nd. Carver not quite as strong as he was here at the previous run where he got 2nd. He's just clinging to the back of this group. We'll see if he can be a factor late. And once again, Mees finds himself in the lead. No one's in complete control, but it looks like he has the most out of anyone in this pack.
But one wrong move can take you from the top 2 all the way back to 10th. That's what you can't do, is have a mistake. Jared Mees, one of the best at it, leading into turn 3.
Halbert, the Bauman brothers, and Brandon Price all right there. It's building to a crescendo. Final couple of laps here in an all-time classic at Springfield. These fans have seen plenty of great races over a long time. That's going to rank up there with anything they've seen in a while, though. 10 riders still with a shot at the Springfield Mile. Now they're crossing lines on each other. Big run for the 14. Briar Bauman into 2nd.
2.5 laps to go down the back straightaway. Where do you want to be? It looks like Briar Bauman, he says, I want to be in the lead. But Brandon Price, all of a sudden, he's going to throw it in there to try to take over 3rd from Sammy Halbert.
Price started the year pretty quiet as a rookie, but he's had a few good runs as of late. You give anyone an opening or an opportunity to get their first win, you know he's going to go for it. These guys do not care about the points with Mees and Bauman, and that includes Sammy Halbert back to the number 1 spot.
on the factory Harley-Davidson onboard, Sammy Halbert to the lead. He's going to be so aggressive trying to get the win. We see Brandon Price. He's up to second, going for his first career win.
And you see how hard Price has to work to do it. That bike wiggling, everyone pushing a little bit harder. And again, it cycles through. Mees finds himself in the lead. Once again, Price going to challenge him. This is amazing racing. Now we're going to have the white flag within sight. Can Jared Mees hold on? Can Price score an upset? Can one of the Harleys win? Can Bauman cling to the points? Look at this pack of the last lap.
We're about 8 wide into turn 1. 9 riders in the battle for this win. Briar Bauman around the outside of Sammy Halbert. Henry Wiles, he's going for the win.
If Briar Bauman can win this one, that would be massive for the series. Now, the one of Mees has to get aggressive. He's going to lead them into turn 3. I don't know if that's what he wanted to do, but he had to. The final corner awaits. Look at this pack. Briar Bauman's going to have to use the draft. Mees leads them off. Price is out of time. Bauman doesn't have it. And one of the best races you'll ever see, Jared Mees goes back-to-back at Springfield.
Wow, my heart's beating fast. I can't believe this. Jared Mees from last to first. What a race. And out of all that is a factory Indian, 1, 2, 3.
This is turn 3 and 4. I don't know if Mees had a strategy left at this point. When you're fighting 8 other riders, what are you going to do?
At that point, he knew he had to go into turn 3 and take the lead and just control his own fate and hope that Briar Bauman and whoever was behind him couldn't get him at the line.
And they could not. Here is the view. Mees sliding into the number 1 spot. It's Price, it's Bauman brothers, Halbert, you name it. Pretty much any contender in this series right there.
And that's what I love. Did you hear that? Even going into the lead, he was so patient, getting on the throttle, not to spin that rear Dunlop tire and win another Springfield mile, sweeping both races.
Yeah, he has to keep winning to keep the pressure on Briar Bauman. It came down in the last lap. We thought Briar was going to score that elusive first ever mile win. Jared Mees would not be denied. Here's the Motul move of the race. We could pick about 800 of them. Let's just give you the whole last lap.
Take it in a little bit right here. That's about 8 wide into turn 1, off of turn 2, well over 100 miles per hour. At this point, Briar Bauman thinking, I might win my first career mile.
And Henry Wiles, who we did not even see in the pack most of the way, finds himself right up front. Mees takes it back.
So good, knowing the right time to make the move with the draft, gets into turn 3, off of turn 4. We've seen at these mile races, Jared Mees likes to lead off of turn 4. Coming to the line, yeah, gets it done. Down to Kristen with the winner.
To stay in the hunt, to stay in the race for the 2019 American Flat Track Twins Championship, Jared Mees is in a must-win situation. He takes back-to-back wins at the Springfield Mile. Jared, what does this win say to the rest of the paddock, and what does it do for your championship hopes?
Just got to pick them off these last 3 rounds now. You know, we had 5 races coming into Springfield, and my goal is to win all 5 for the rest of the year. And, you know, we had a little bit of misfortune there in the semi, and had to go to the backup bike, and she ran just as strong, got us to the front. So I never won Springfield from the penalty line. There's been some bad dudes that came from the penalty line and won Springfield, so I get to put my name on that list.
Yes, not much left to accomplish for Mees in this sport, but he'd like another title, and it's not over.
That's a big deal. 25 points within 1 race. Jared Mees has a great shot to still win his 3rd championship in a row.
All Briar Bauman can do if he can't win is try to score max points. He did the best he could here with 2nd.
Briar Bauman finishing 2nd here tonight. Briar, what does the racing out there tell us about the next 3 races on tap, and what does it do for your championship hopes?
I'm really, really excited for the next 3. This has been my bugaboo all year. It's been the team's bugaboo. I've been thinking about it nonstop. So I told myself if I could leave here the 2 days of race with 2 top 5s, I would lose it. And to get 2 podiums in a row, the Indian motorcycle powered by Progressive was great both days. I mean, the team did their homework. And, yeah, we struggled yesterday. We had to do the same thing Jared did, except we got a 3rd rather than win. But all in all, I think he knew that this might be our little bit of a soft spot. So I'm ready for the next 3.
Go the Distance Award standings from Sunoco. Bronson Bauman there on the right has amassed the most miles in practice, qualifying, and racing this year. Let's go back to the podium.
Bronson Bauman with his 4th podium here in 2019. Bronson, during that race, we saw you guys go 4 wide. We saw drafting. Take me through what it was like for you.
You know, it's just a huge learning curve for me. First time ever running really in the lead pack at Springfield and on a mile to boot. So to be up there going 4 wide, you know, learning how to draft really, it's really good. I feel really confident going into the rest of the miles. I believe we have 2 more at the end of the year, and really looking forward to it, actually. Want to finish the season strong and get on the podium again. You know, the Indian team powered by Progressive, it's a rocket ship. It's an amazing motorcycle, and I can't thank them enough for this opportunity. It's a record year for me, and we're not done yet.
Well, neither are we, Bronson Bauman. Next show, the Williams Grove half mile. Grauman brothers probably happy to not have a mile because Meads has been unstoppable on them this year.
A huge race for Breyer. Got to stop the momentum of Jared Meads because the last 2 races are both mile races.
Yeah, he doesn't want it to go down to the wire. A lot of racing to unpack here at Springfield. Dalton Gauthier retakes points lead in the singles class, gets a win along with Colby Carlisle and Production Twins. Jared Meads sweeps it in the twins class. For AJ Allmendinger and Kristen Beat, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching.